The Supreme Court is often viewed as a battleground of opposing viewpoints, with its 9 justices frequently depicted as divided along ideological lines, mirroring the nation's own political rifts. Because of these divisions, many people assume that every significant case will end with a close, controversial split. Yet something unexpected has occurred lately, a string of unanimous decisions that caught both legal analysts and the public off guard. These 9-0 rulings are uncommon and carry tremendous influence, proving that even on divisive issues the court can come together and deliver a single, collective judgment. When every justice is in agreement, the verdict holds greater authority and credibility, making it much more difficult for detractors to claim the decision is driven by politics. This kind of unity sends a clear signal that the law, not political agendas, shapes these outcomes, and that the justices are dedicated to upholding the Constitution above all else. Unanimous verdicts strengthen public confidence in the court as an institution that stands above partisanship, assuring people that justice can truly be neutral and just. These decisions offer straightforward, reliable legal direction for lower courts and the public, minimizing uncertainty and promoting uniformity nationwide. Such rulings have touched on everything from gun laws to religious rights and business regulations, impacting the everyday lives of millions of Americans. The justices set aside their personal views and philosophies to interpret the law as a cohesive body, highlighting the resilience of the judicial system. Their unified stance reinforces the principle that justice is anchored in the fair and consistent application of the law, not in changing political tides. This agreement helps to cool intense debates by offering clear legal resolutions, settling disputes that might otherwise deepen national divides. When the Supreme Court stands together, it shows that the issue has been carefully considered and resolved, at least for now, providing society with a sense of certainty and reassurance. One of the most significant and closely watched Supreme Court decisions in recent years involved the rights and legal protections of gun manufacturers in the United States. The unanimous ruling addressed whether gun makers could be held liable for crimes committed with their products, a question that has sparked heated debate across the country. At the heart of the case was a federal law known as the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, or PLC 8A. This law was designed to shield firearms companies from lawsuits when their products are misused by criminals, as long as the companies themselves have followed the law. The Supreme Court was asked to decide if this protection also applied to lawsuits brought by foreign governments such as Mexico, who claimed that American gun makers contributed to violence beyond U.S. borders. In a rare 9-0 decision, the court ruled that the law protects gun manufacturers from these types of lawsuits, regardless of who files them or where the alleged harm occurs. Mexico argued that American gun companies played a role in fueling violence and crime south of the border, but the court found that their claims did not meet the specific exceptions outlined in the PLC-ABA. The decision was celebrated as a major victory for gun rights advocates and the firearms industry, who have long argued that manufacturers should not be blamed for the criminal misuse of their products. The ruling reinforces the principle that companies making legal products cannot be held responsible for the illegal actions of others as long as they comply with all applicable laws and regulations. By upholding the PLCAA, the Supreme Court ensured that the firearms industry would not be driven out of business by a wave of costly and potentially crippling lawsuits, preserving the status quo for gun makers across the nation. The unanimity of the decision highlights that this is a fundamental principle of law, not a matter of partisan politics or ideology. Importantly, the ruling does not prevent all lawsuits against gun makers. Companies can still be sued for defective products or violations of law, but it closes a significant loophole for targeting the industry based on the actions of third parties. Ultimately, the decision brings much-needed clarity and stability to this area of law, setting a clear precedent for future cases involving the firearms industry. In a landmark moment, the Supreme Court delivered another unanimous decision. This time, the court protected the religious freedom of charities across the nation, ensuring that their ability to serve is not hindered by government overreach. The case centered on a Catholic charity in Wisconsin, which was denied an exemption from the state's unemployment insurance fund. The state argued that the charity's work wasn't religious enough to qualify, raising serious questions about who gets to define religious activity. The Supreme Court unanimously rejected the idea that the government can judge or measure how religious an organization is, emphasizing that such decisions are not for bureaucrats to make. The justices ruled that faith-based groups, regardless of their denomination or tradition, have the right to define their own mission and purpose without government interference or scrutiny. This decision sends a powerful message, strongly protecting the independence of churches, synagogues, mosques, and other faith-based organizations, allowing them to operate according to their beliefs. It ensures these groups can continue to serve their communities, provide aid, and offer hope according to their deeply held convictions, without fear of losing their protected status. The ruling keeps the line between church and state clear and strong, preventing government entanglement in religious matters. By speaking with one voice, the court affirmed that religious autonomy is a core American value, essential to the nation's identity and freedoms. The government cannot apply a subjective test to measure an organization's faith or question the sincerity of its mission. This protects all religious groups, large or small, from bureaucratic meddling and ensures equal treatment under the law. Religious charities can now focus on their mission, serving others, uplifting communities, and living out their values, without having to prove their religious credentials to the government at every turn. In the workplace, fairness is everything. The Supreme Court faced a question: does someone from a majority group need more proof than a minority group to win a discrimination case? Some lower courts had created a higher bar for reverse discrimination claims. In a unanimous decision, the justices swept that extra hurdle away. The law is the same for everyone. One standard for proving workplace discrimination, regardless of race or background. This ruling simplifies the law and reinforces equal justice for all. Employees now have the same legal path forward, focusing on the employer's actions, not the employee's identity. The decision makes the law truly colorblind and creates a level playing field in the courtroom. It strengthens the foundation of workplace protection laws for every American worker. One dramatic case involved a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador, where he was jailed. The government admitted its error, and a lower court ordered daily updates on efforts to bring him back. The Supreme Court's unanimous decision balanced two principles: the government's duty to fix its mistake and the limits of judicial power. The justices ordered the administration to work for his release, but said the lower court went too far in micromanaging the executive branch. The ruling respected the separation of powers. Courts protect rights, but the president handles foreign relations. The government can't walk away from its mistake, but only the executive can negotiate with other countries. This case highlights the real-life consequences of government errors in immigration. Courts can step in to protect people, but there are limits. The Supreme Court left the diplomatic task to the administration. It's a sober reminder of the high stakes in immigration enforcement and the need to respect constitutional boundaries. The deportation case also raised questions about judicial authority. The lower court judge ordered daily reports on diplomatic efforts, a very hands-on approach. The Supreme Court, while sympathetic, was wary of this level of judicial supervision. The unanimous decision affirmed the government's responsibility to correct errors but reinforced that the executive branch decides how. Negotiating with foreign governments is a sensitive process best left to the president. The ruling guides judges. They can order the government to act but not take over another branch's job. This principle, separation of powers, prevents any branch from becoming too powerful. The decision is a lesson in constitutional boundaries. Courts can hold the government accountable but must respect the system. The responsibility for bringing the man home now rests with the administration without daily judicial oversight. Imagine two companies fighting over a brand name. One wins, but should the losing company pay only its own profits or also those of related companies? The Supreme Court made the rule clear: only the company actually sued and found liable can be forced to hand over profits. Affiliates can't be forced to pay unless they were named as defendants from the start. The court overturned a massive award that included profits from affiliates. This reinforces a basic principle: each corporation is its own legal entity. Just as one sibling's debts don't become another's, one company's liability doesn't automatically extend to affiliates. The ruling provides certainty for businesses and limits liability to their own actions. It doesn't give wrongdoers a free pass. There are other ways to address hidden profits. The decision brings clarity and fairness to trademark law. When the Supreme Court speaks with one voice, America listens. These 9-0 rulings show the court can rise above partisan divides to find common ground. In a fractured time, this unity is a powerful symbol of stability. Unanimous decisions strengthen the rule of law and are harder to dismiss as political. They build confidence that the court is a neutral arbiter, not a political body. Consensus provides clear, durable guidance for the country. It helps prevent future lawsuits and reduces confusion. United decisions create a more predictable and fair legal landscape. The court's ability to unite is a testament to our constitutional system. The unity of the Supreme Court doesn't solve all problems, but it shows our institutions can work, providing equal justice and strengthening the nation.